Hello guys, my name is Amit Sani. 21st of November it is, and the Hindu analysis. This lesson is in the evening. The MCQ lessons are coming in the morning. The Hindu analysis videos, they are coming. Important issues, context, and facts, their explanations, related details we discuss here. And in the evening we practice questions there. So please follow both the lessons. And let's start the lesson. Paid content available at 159 rupees per month, and important videos are coming. Other important, helpful and similar courses are going to be launched on the platform in the next month. So next month is going to be a new start there, and very exam oriented help is going to be available there, and a very affordable one. And if you face any issue regarding the payment, regarding the queries of the courses, then you can call on these two numbers, and the chat section is also available there. PDF you are getting on Telegram channel, whose link is given on the Facebook group here. You can follow me on Instagram too. First issue, officially now government announces to sell off its entire stake in BPCL and 4 other PSUs. 53.29% stake government has in BPCL, and it is gonna sell that, and 63.75% stake in Shipping Corporation of India. Entire stake is going to be sold off. And third, Concor, the Container Corporation of India Limited, 30.8%. It is going to be sold. An entire stake in THDCIL, 74.23%, is going to be sold off, and 100% stake in Northeast Electric Power Corporation to NTPC Limited, they are gonna sell there. So they are now have targets every year. Last year they had a target of 90,000 crore rupees of this investment. This year 1,05,000 crore rupees target is there for disinvestment. Already many experts were saying that they do not have any option than to sell off the entities there, the state entities there, but they are hailing them as great achievements, and these are taken as targets. Government now says that the strategic disinvestment is happening, and this money will be used to finance the social sector developmental programs of the government benefiting the public. So it's a very casual channel there. All the money will be diverted towards the development process, and we have to wait for that, which way that development is coming to us. And the receipt crisis is certainly there for the government, because already they are not meeting the GST targets, and the income tax targets are also not up to that expectation. And now the 1.45 lakh crore rupees, which will not be coming due to the corporate tax cuts. So government has very limited sources of the income, and public expenditure is needed in this time. They actually went with the RBI reserve transfers also, but still there is a huge lack. So this option is the only viable option now, only possible option now, and it's not really that much great an achievement according to many experts, because they are selling their entities, and in future these will not be there with the government of India. Although they may say that these will be coming up with the new management's innovative methods there, but economic experts, they have a different opinion regarding that. So many more articles will come on this issue, and so far government could only collect 17,364 crore rupees out of this 1.05 lakh crore rupees, and let's see how it unfolds. Important for GS paper 2. Now, after economic issues, controversial economic moves, how we are going to forget about that? Now we have the issue of NRC. Center plans NRC exercise all over the country. Amit Shah ji, the Home Minister, says that NRC will be carried out across the country. All Indian citizens will be included, irrespective of religion. Mamata Banerjee, as usual, says that there are few people who are trying to create disturbances in the name of NRC. We will never allow NRC in Bengal. And what happened in Assam, the Assam NRC? You will be shocked to know, according to the new plan, the NRC exercise will be repeated in Assam. They, in a way, they actually wasted 1221 crore rupees in that exercise. All communal issues, the problems, the administrative tortures, Supreme Court considered all those realities, and it was monitoring that issue. Now Assam's government and their finance minister Biswa, Himant Viswa Sharma. He says that please reject it, and this is not acceptable for us. So the same thing is said by Amit Shahji, that we are gonna repeat that exercise in the Assam region too. So for that we have an article today. Before that, you can see this request by Assam government, this urge that they have made here to the center. This is really shocking because it was done according to the 1985 Assam Accord, and 1220 crore rupees was the cost for this whole issue, and 19 lakh people are out of that register. We do not know what is going to be the future for them. Are these going to be deported? Because this is again a problem. Bangladesh has already said that we will not accept even a single person. So what's going to happen? Are these going to be in some camps? Can we keep 20 lakh people in the camps? No, this is not possible. And Harsh Mandar now says that, a human rights activist, he says that similar exercise in the same manner, the kind of communal problems we saw here, the kind of torture we saw here, in the same manner, if it is going to be repeated in whole country, this is going to be devastating, this is going to be catastrophic. And this is not necessary, because many experts, many security experts, they are saying that is it really necessary? Because we have a lot of problems, we have certain issues due to some illegal immigrations and all, but there are many other alternatives, there are many other ways there we can manage those problems. This specific way of conducting this NRC exercise, the way we have seen in Assam, if in the same manner it is going to be repeated in the whole country, there may be devastation. It's a very diverse country, it's a very sensitive country, a lot of cults, sects, religions, faiths are there, traditions are there, and if there is going to be any kind of targeting, then it's going to be devastating. Why? Because the clubbing of CAB, Constitutional Amendment Bill, with it, they say that this combination is going to be, it may prove to be very deadly in this country, because there is a clear communal angle in the CAB issue. They are gonna allow all non-Muslims from three Muslim countries, Bangladesh, Pakistan and Afghanistan there, but they are not, they are dropping Muslims intentionally from that proposal. So that is why when you repeat the exercise in Assam after wasting 1221 crore rupees, it looks illogical and bizarre, and you did not address the problem, and the torturous instances were so many, because some of the people, they even have served in Indian army, but still they did not find their name in the register there. They were, and they are declared someone from outside of this country, the outsiders. That's very serious. This issue was monitored by Supreme Court, and Ranjan Gogoi, who also hailed from Assam, he was the CJI. Now his term is over, S.A. Bobde has come. An allegation is that Mr. Ranjan Gogoi, who supervised the NRC process, debuted office as Chief Justice of India, and now this defiance of the Supreme Court is in front of us. So this is really interesting, and this Supreme Court only directed the entire NRC registration specific to Assam through all its torturous details. So that's the issue. One more problem. Here the editor says that, like the CAB, the Constitutional Amendment Bill, which pointedly discriminates against Muslims and is loaded against the right to equality and equal protection before the law as enshrined in the Article 14 of the Constitution, there are genuine fears that a nationwide NRC will target Muslims specifically. And one more issue is of the cutoff date, because in the Assam the cutoff date was March 25, 1971. But if you see the earlier settlement of citizenship issue in 1948, when migration was happening from Pakistan, so that date was declared as 19th July 1948. So if this nationwide NRC is going to come, then they will have to come up with a common cutoff date, and that may be very much arbitrary, because a lot of controversies can be there. These are totally possible. It's a very diverse, very complex country, and running an exercise like that, is it really necessary? And what are going to be the achievements there? What are going to be the consequences there? That's the main issue, because the consequences can be very, very troublesome, very, very devastating in a country like that. That's why they say that, is it the only alternative? Is it the only viable option? Is it really that much necessary that this country cannot run without NRC? So that's why it's an important issue for GS paper 2, 1 and 3 all, because security issues are there for GS paper 3, 2 because the government policies, they will be included, and 1, it's a social situation also. So the common cutoff date is also a problem here. Next, no Aadhaar social media link plan. We discussed the issue of Facebook going to courts, and then Supreme Court took up this case that the Aadhaar card is going to be linked up with the social media accounts. The Indian government is pushing for that. Facebook said that. But now what government said? Government, in a written reply to the Lok Sabha, says that there is no such proposal with the government for linking Aadhaar with social media accounts of individuals. And there Facebook was saying that Indian government is pushing so hard to link up all these biometric data to the social media accounts, that we are finding it very, very difficult. So that's why we want this judicial help here, and that's why Supreme Court took this whole case under it. And now government says that we do not have any such proposal. In current year, they have blocked 3433 URLs. Last year 2799, last to last year 1385, and in 16 only 633 sites were blocked. So this is increasing, the curve is increasing. Section 69A of IT Act 2000 empowers the government to block any information generated, transmitted, received, stored or hosted in any computer resource in the interest of sovereignty of India, defense of India, security of the state, friendly relation with foreign countries, or public order, or preventing incitement to commission of any cognizable offence. So for all these reasons, they can block any URL, they can get any information, they can barge into any computer in India. And 10 central agencies, they have already this important clearance. So these issues are very controversial because there are contradictions. Facebook says government is pushing so hard for that, and government says we do not have any proposal. So if they say it in a written reply, then it's good. Important for GS paper 2 and 3 both. Next, note for Industrial Relations Code Bill. I had told you that 44 laws are going to be clubbed into 4 labor codes. The Social Security Code, Wage Code, Industrial Relations Code. So these issues are coming. Wage Bill we had discussed in June month. Then the Social Security Bill, that proposal was being discussed, and now this Industrial Relations Code. It will subsume 3 important laws covering trade unions, industrial employment and disputes. And most important feature of this bill was that fixed term employment as opposed to contract that prevails widely today. So that has been given permission here. So this is going to be important, very, very important. It is whole agenda of labor reforms, important for GS paper 2 and 3. For economic expansion, for becoming a superpower, labor reforms is something that we need the most, and for that these 4 codes are going to be important. Many controversies are there regarding those also, because they say that why we brought 44 laws if only these 4 are going to be doing the task. If these 4 only are gonna be including all the provisions, then what was the need of getting a separate 44 laws there? So both kind of opinions are there, but we have to hope for the better situation there, and 4 codes are going to be the model one here. So that's important. Many more articles will come on this issue. We will discuss them later. Next issue, no plan to waive dues for telecom companies post SC ruling on AGR. Ravi Shankar Prasad makes it clear that they have to pay that money. The issue that we discussed of adjusted gross revenue means the telecom companies, they are paying for the spectrum which they are allowed for, and they are paying this money to the government in the revenue sharing form. As I told you, they were ready to share that percentage of the revenue for the telecom charges, but for non-telecom income, they are not ready to share that revenue there. Suppose if they have some investment in some issue, then they are earning some money, then government wants that revenue should also be shared with the government. If they are doing some advertisements, or they are making money through some other method there, then in all the issues they should share that revenue with the government. This is the demand by the government, and Supreme Court has upheld that. So following the judgment, telecom firms now owe 1.47 lakh crores in license fee, and spectrum use charges are 55,045 crore rupees. Who is at this huge loss? Specifically Airtel and Vodafone Idea. What about Jio? Jio came just 2-3 years back. This issue is going on for since 2006, and this money is accumulated till date, and it's now 12-13 years. So that's why this huge amount is accumulated, and these companies, they have to pay that. Government gives them 2 years to clear these issues. So AGR matter is very, very sensitive, and if they will not get any relaxation, then certainly these companies, they are not going to survive there, because 92,000 crore rupees and 55,000 crore rupees, this is not a small amount, and these companies are already struggling a lot. Jio is not struggling especially, but these companies, they are on a brink of devastation, and these charges are certainly going to end their existence, because they were hoping for a lot of support there, but government says that in a straight way that we are not gonna allow that. Any relaxation will not be provided. You will have to pay the whole money. Next, Reserve Bank supersedes DHFL board. Diwan Housing Finance Limited, the first housing NBFC, which is going to come under the IBC framework, Insolvency Bankruptcy Code. You see, these systematically important financial service providers, they were not under this IBC framework. Now recently, a few days back, government released this notification that they will also come under IBC framework, so that whatever money is stuck, liquidation process should start for them also, because 40,000 crore rupees are stuck for the public sector banks. Total 80,000 crore rupees debt is there. It's not a small amount, and you see how, in a bizarre way, the taxpayers' money is going to the docks, and who is taking advantage here? We pay taxes, we are not getting any tax cut benefits. Corporate tax cut was there, and all these bodies, they were having this advantage. Here, a lot of companies, they fail, and they stash away the money from these banks, and from where the banks are compensating this money, you see, they have started all kinds of charges from the common people of India. You withdraw money from the ATM, 25 rupees, I think they are cut from your account. Many charges they have started, and if you go with the statistics of SBI and other banks, then thousands of crores of rupees they have earned from the normal customers. And here 40,000 crore rupees are stuck, 80,000 crore rupees are stuck. This much amount is stuck with some businessman, with some corporate body and all, and then they go for some adjustments. Okay, now the IBC is working a little bit, but not up to those satisfactory levels, and it is not something that whatever they have given as loan, they are getting everything with interest. It is not going to happen. It is an emergency measure that the whole money should not get stuck there, and at least some percentage of this amount we should get that. Forget about the interest and something like that. And then banks, they struggle with their assets, and then what are the plans? Recapitalization plans. And then they are given money by the government. Whose money is that? It is taxpayers' money. So we are giving a lot of charges. Our tax paid money, that is going for their recapitalization. And this whole phenomena is really very, very bizarre, devastating for the consumers, for the common people, and always beneficial for these big corporate bodies, which are getting corporate tax cuts now. So that's really a bizarre issue. But DHFL it is very down now. 80,000 crore rupees debt is there, and the IBC process is gonna start with this body also. Okay, government has cleared the path for that. IBC, which came in 2016, has been the only successful measure there, partially successful in the NPA situation. Okay, next, US ready to sell naval guns for $1 billion. MK-45 gun system, which will provide the capacity to conduct anti-surface warfare and anti-air defense missions while enhancing the interoperability with the US and other allied forces. It is going to be manufactured by BAE Systems in America. Estimated cost is $1.0210 billion, and America says that India is a privileged country. We are choosing India with some elite countries like Australia, Japan and South Korea, where we have sold these MOD for latest version gun systems, naval gun systems. It was given to Thailand also, and the US is also determined to sell these to few other allies and friends, including Britain and Canada. So India should feel proud according to Americans. But what's actually happening here? These big countries, Russia, America, they have these big weapon industries. They sell to other countries. And what is the business? If there is no conflict in this world, if there is no problem or war in this world, whom they are going to sell these weapons? If there is peace in this world, whom they are going to sell it? So that is why it looks like it's all an intentional plan. And who fall into these traps? We have problems with Pakistan, especially. We had problems with China also. So we want to raise our capacity. But what is the issue of make in India, manufacturing in India? It does not look like that, because we are all about procuring. Rafale issue, this issue, we are procuring these things, and there should have been an independence there. Autonomy should have been there in manufacturing, and if we want to raise our capacity, we should do it on our own. But we are the big customers there, and these countries, they never spare our country when it comes to their own interest. And now they say that they should. India is a privileged country. India is one of those countries we have these big businesses there. So it's really a skewed plan. It's really a not so good thing for a country like India. But certainly we have this big need to raise our capacity. So that's why these are all plans. Important for GS paper 2 and 3. Next, Gotabaya Rajapaksa now announces for a caretaker government. His older brother Mahinda Rajapaksa, a former Sri Lankan president, is going to be the Prime Minister of Sri Lanka. In March, 4.5 years will be completed for the parliament, so the next general elections can be there next year. But till then, Mahinda Rajapaksa will be the Prime Minister of India. So younger brother president, older brother Prime Minister there. Next issue, encroachments issue. Israel. You see the map here. In 1946, it was the Palestinian Authority and population in all this area, because Israel was not a country here. Then America's force, it was a UN's partition plan. Total America's influence. Israel was established here. Gaza Strip. This was the area where Palestinians were living after this plan, and in this West Bank area. You see the green areas where Palestinians were living. What happens till 1967? This area is also lost here to Israelis, and this part of Gaza Strip is also lost to Israelis. Only the Palestinians are restricted to these areas. Only these two green areas. Now after 67's 6-day war, and what is the present situation here? You see very thin Gaza Strip and many illegal capturing in West Bank. Today, according to the administrative setup, Area A, Area B and Area C is there in Gaza Strip, and more than 62% of the land is enclosed by Israelis. So Palestinians are constricted to around 35% area there. You can see Israel, Jordan, Arba Valley, Gulf of Aqaba, Dead Sea, Jordan River, Sea of Galilee, Golan Heights, which was a part of Syria, and after 67 it's a very controversial area. Egypt, it is Sinai Peninsula, which was also won by Israel in 1967 war, but now given again to Egypt. So this is the dominance of Israel there, and with the technological advancement, with the all scientific advancement there, and the dominance which it had created in the past, it is consistently encroaching the lands in West Bank. More and more areas illegally it is capturing. Illegal colonies are flourishing day by day, and it's total violation of the UN plan there. But America is there the bigger support for Israel, and for India also it is unique because first time in the history this year we changed, or you may say we shifted our policy towards Israel. We were very much neutral about Israel and Palestine in the past, but this time we were more in favor of Israel. So that's why these issues are very much important. There is a very positive campaign regarding Israel in our country. In the last 4-5 years we have seen a lot of positivity regarding Israel in our top Hindi news channels, and we felt very happy there. And many issues of biasness were also coming to the surface because there was some policy changes there. Okay, so that's important for GS paper 2 especially. Next, US Senate passes Hong Kong rights bill. America is a special country. Whatever problem is there in this world, they are going to pass an important law so that they can legitimate their own interference there, and it mandates action against Chinese officials who committed rights abuse. Beijing now vows countermeasures there because for a very long time now Americans are after China, and especially the Trump administration. They have created a lot of problems for Chinese country, and in all the matters, in all the issues, they want to circle China there. So this is again an issue, and this issue has become so complex, and the protests, they are not stopping, and day by day the situation is worsening there. That's the situation. China has an abusive history. Its measures are very problematic in some areas, and in the 1989 the Tiananmen Square incident was a big blot on its image. So it's a very sensitive point for China. How they are going to tackle that situation and the American pressure there, we have to see. Next, MPs, two BJP MPs, they see clarity on the VIP quota on trains. What government said, Mr. Goel, he was replying to two BJP MPs from Uttar Pradesh who had complained that they were embarrassed that they asked the reserve seats for their relatives because they were in the waiting list there. So they tried their influence, but they could not get the tickets cleared. So Mr. Goel, he clarified this issue that the quota is released by the staff in accordance with the priority as per warrant of precedence and well established practice being followed since long. And the VIP quota issue is there for these MPs and the HOR holders. Means, who are the HOR holders? They may ask you. Union ministers, Supreme Court, High Court judges, MPs, a limited number of seats had been earmarked as emergency quota in different classes. So it is there for them only, not for their relatives, and it becomes difficult for the Indian Railways if the availability is not there, and then they request for these relatives there. So ethically it looks very, very bizarre why they are openly asking question like that we tried to get the reserve tickets for our relatives. They are important people, but why relatives there? So that's why it's important information, and the HOR holders, they may ask you about that. Next, the most important article today, Ajay Srivastav clarifying some issues, the myths around free trade agreement. The RCEP, we could not join there, and many articles came, many issues were discussed, many more interviews and editorials we discussed there. Now he says that two issues, exports and investments and the global value chain, three important issues are there. He says, is it a guarantee that FTA will lead to increase in exports? India has FTAs with Association of South Asian Nations, ASEAN, Japan, South Korea, and 3/4 of the bilateral trade already happens at zero duty. So India also has a small preferential trade agreement with China. So did it lead to any growth in the exports? No. Mere signing of FTA does not guarantee an increase in exports. Why? You see, if there is a big change in the import duty, then it may spur the exports. But if we see the reality there, then with most of the countries and for most of their imports, around 60% of their imports, they are already happening at 0 duty or 1-2% duties. So if from 1 to 3 it comes to 0, then it will not make any huge impact. Okay, and they do not guarantee exports. Why? Because you see, some other issues can be present there. With Japan, there is an example. Indian apparels we were exporting here from here to Japan, and the import duty reduced from 10 to 0 by Japan. So it was a beneficial thing for Indian exporters because Japan brought this duty from 10% to 0. But they used some other barriers, non-trade barriers, like the special sourcing requirements. So what just happened here? In last 8 years, from 10 to 18, the exports, they should have risen, but they came from 255 to 152 million dollars. So it was a negative growth there. And FTAs cut import duties, but this is only one of many factors that decide if exports will increase, and that is shown by this important example there. So the FTAs, they do not guarantee any export rise. We claimed a lot and we said that we need to be a part of the global value chain where we can be an exporting nation, but FTAs do not guarantee exports and the rise in the exports. That is something said by Mr. Ajay there. Investment issue. You see, the example of Australia is here. In 1987, Australia produced 89% of its cars that it used. So the production was happening in Australia, and heavy 45% import duty was there. Then what's going to happen? The imported cars will be very expensive. So the cars which are being built in Australia only, they will be cheaper. So all these companies, Nissan, Ford, General Motors, Toyota, Mitsubishi, they established their own production houses there in Australia only. But later, when they brought these duties to very low numbers or maybe 0, then the imported cars became cheaper, and all these companies, they were devastated. So they shut all their shops there because the production was not beneficial, because the imported cars were also cheaper, and there was no benefit in the production of these cars in Australia only, because they were buying the foreign cars also. Earlier they were buying only Australia made cars, so that's why they all fled away. But India could attract significant investment in the car sector on account of high import duties. We have high import duties, and that's why many production plants are there for many foreign companies, and they are making benefits here. So it's beneficial situation for them, and it's a investment destination for India, so that's good. So the FTAs, they do not guarantee a big investment flow also. Okay, most investments are result of packages such as tax cuts, cheap land, power offered by host country. So they are the main issues, not the FTAs. And FTAs, they do not have anything to do with the tax cuts, cheap land, power, facilities and all. So the quality of investments increases as a country moves towards becoming a more efficient economy. So we should have this aim of becoming more efficient economy than to go with FTAs. And about the global value chains, you see these important groups like ASEAN and countries like Japan, China, they have this important global value chain issue. But how much big part we became of this regional value chain? ASEAN, Japan, Korea, they have the important stake there, and they constitute the core of the Asian regional value chain. But how big we could become there? Despite FTAs with these countries, India has a weak presence in the electronics, machinery and apparel industry there. So that's why the FTAs alone do not make a country part of the value chain. Other important issues and making the economy very robust is the only key there, and that automatically it will lead to a bigger participation in the global value chain. Okay, and the issue, as I told you, if the bigger change is there in the import duty, means if it is coming from 20% to 0, then it will have impact. But if it is already at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5%, then it will not make any huge impact there on trade. So that's why FTAs are not a guarantee for exports and investment and the global value chain participation there. So we have to make our economy robust and we are already a very open country. It is nothing like that that we are going towards a closed economy condition again after declining RCEP here. We are very much open here. The trade openness ratio is the sum of all imports and exports as percentage of the GDP. So India score is good, 43, more than China and USA. So we have to focus on our economy, we have to focus on our professional management of the economy, and we have to become more and more efficient there, so that all these things become favorable and we are not very much repenting on the RCEP declining there. So that's the issue. And next article you have to read here. We have discussed every issue given in this article, and very important this is. So please go through the text. Thanks a lot. Keep watching. It was a